You can be doing everything right, grinding, growing, hitting your goals, and still wake up wondering why you don't want to be here anymore. Not in a dramatic way like you want to end it all, but in that quiet kind of way, where life feels heavy, where existing feels like a chore, and where deep down you're just tired. Tired of trying, tired of pretending, tired of chasing a life that doesn't even feel like yours. And if you don't understand where that pain is coming from, you'll spend your whole life blaming yourself, when the truth is, the system is rigged to burn you out. It's not just you. You're caught in a loop. The rat race, the doom scrolling, people living fake lives online, and the longer you stay in it, the more numb you become. So in a second, I'll show you exactly how this happens and how to finally escape it. Because this isn't about motivation, it's about survival. Let's start with the first lie. If you work hard enough, you'll be happy. That's where we're sold, so we chase it. The degree, the job, the income, the body, the house. But the second we get close to any of those things, the world moves the goalpost again. You finally get a salary that you once dreamed about. Now it's not how much you make, it's how fast you're climbing. You finally like how you look. Now it's not about progress though. It's about how you compare to the next guy. Even joy feels guilty. You take a day off and you feel lazy. You rest and start thinking, maybe I should be doing more right now. It's like you're on a treadmill that just doesn't stop. But every few weeks, someone leans over and hits the incline button. You're not running toward freedom. You're running to not collapse. And the worst part, you can't even name what you're chasing anymore. There's no final form, no finish line. Just a vague pressure to become better without ever being allowed to feel good. You're not building a life. You're surviving a loop. And maybe that's the scariest part. You don't even realize you're in a race until you finally stop running. But when you do, what comes next isn't peace, it's distraction. Let me show you what hijacks your brain the second you try to rest. We treat scrolling on our phones like it's recovery, but it's not rest, it's overload in disguise. It's like walking into a nightclub at 7 a.m. with lights flashing, music blaring, and everyone screaming opinions in your face. You wouldn't call that relaxing, but online, we do it every day and tell ourselves that it's downtime. You scroll past war news, OF girls, a meme, tragedies, and a random person talking about their life, all in like 15 seconds. Your brain can't filter that kind of chaos, so eventually, it just stops trying. You don't absorb anything anymore. You just go numb. And here's how I realized it. There was a week where I barely touched my phone. No Instagram, no TikTok, no YouTube, no nothing. I was busy, so I had no time to scroll. And something strange happened. I started sleeping better. I wanted to do things in real life again. My head felt quiet, and peaceful even. But the moment I got back, I opened TikTok just for a few minutes. An hour later, I snapped out of it. My chest was tight. I was annoyed at everything, and my brain felt like soup. That's when it clicked. This wasn't new. It just felt new because I had finally broken the doom scrolling loop long enough to notice its bad effects. Before that, I lived in a constant fog, scrolling for hours, consuming hundreds of people's lives, never realizing the cost. You don't know why you're irritable, or why you can't focus, or why even your favorite hobbies feel meh. But your nervous system knows, and has been screaming for silence. You would think turning off your phone would make you feel calm again, but silence doesn't always feel safe. When the noise stops, your thoughts get louder, and they usually lead you somewhere darker. Comparison, which is the thief of joy. Let me show you how it twists your brain in ways you don't even see. Comparison used to be local. You'd compare yourself to a few people in your school, your friend group, and your city. But now, you're comparing yourself to the top 0.1% of every category on a loop. Someone younger than you just sold a company. Someone who looks better than you just got a sponsorship or a modeling job. Someone smarter than you just got their dream job and looks happy. And of course, the algorithm shows you someone with a six pack, six figures, and six properties. Triple threat. Must be nice. And even when you know it's curated, even when you know it's fake, your brain doesn't care. Because the comparison isn't logical, it's emotional. And emotion doesn't pause for fact checking. You can't enjoy what you've built because you're too busy wondering why it doesn't look better. You don't see your own growth because you're too distracted by someone else's outcome. That constant pressure is like being in a room where everyone's shouting to do more, but no one's clapping when you actually do it. Eventually, you just stop trying. So if you've been feeling like something's wrong with you, it's not you. It's the inputs. But what happens when that pressure builds for years and nothing ever feels exciting anymore? Let's talk about that next, because that's when most people quietly give up. Most people don't crash, they fade. They go from being excited to just being okay to being numb. And then they wonder why nothing hits anymore. Your favorite song? Mid. A sunny day? Whatever. Good news? Well, cool, I guess. That's the gray zone, where life isn't bad enough to panic, but not good enough to care. So you coast. You go through the motions, and eventually, it all just blurs together. But somewhere in the back of your mind, a quieter thought creeps in. I don't want to die, but I don't really want to be here either. That in-between space, that's where a lot of people give up quietly. They stop dreaming, stop building, stop feeling. Because feeling means waking up to how disconnected you've become. So before we get into how people actually can come back to life from this, I just want to say that if this video hits something deep in you and you don't want to feel alone in all of this, I built a space for that. There's a Discord server where we talk about this stuff every day. Just honest people trying to feel human. And if you want even more, I have YouTube memberships too. You'll get early access to uploads, unreleased content, and behind the scenes stuff that never makes it to the main feed. All the links are in the description and we'd love to have you there. Now let's talk about how you actually start feeling again. If you're in that gray zone where nothing's wrong, but nothing feels right either, you're not alone. And maybe part of the reason why you feel so heavy is because you were never meant to carry it all yourself. In Islam, there's a reminder that verily in the remembrance of God do hearts find rest. Not always answers, not always certainty, just rest. And sometimes that's all you need to keep going. Even if you're not religious, that idea alone, that rest doesn't come from escaping life, but from anchoring deeper into it, can shift everything. So how do you start feeling again? Let me show you. First, cut the noise. Delete the apps, turn off the feed, just for a few days. Not to be perfect, but just to hear your own thoughts again. When you do that, something weird happens. You get bored, and then you get curious. And that is the spark. Because curiosity is the first sign that your brain is healing. Then slowly, replace passive consumption with real input. Listen to productive podcasts, take a walk, talk to someone face to face, read something that doesn't scream for your attention. Then ask yourself this: what's one thing I can do today that feels like me? Not to be productive, not to impress anyone, just to feel human again. Because the goal isn't to escape your life, it's to return to it. And if you've been living in that gray zone for too long, where nothing's really wrong, but nothing feels right either, then you already know what it's like to slowly shut down, to drift, to not wanting to die, but also not wanting to wake up. But that feeling, it didn't come out of nowhere. It started somewhere. And for me, it started back in the mid-2010s. And in that moment, I thought it was the end. But what happened after, that's the part nobody ever talks about. Not the fall, but the rebuild. And I think you need to hear it in my last video. Because if you've made it this far into this video, you're ready to feel something again.